Hello and welcome to episode 261 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 23rd of November. So welcome everybody. I hope you all had a lovely crafty week or two since the last time I've podcasted, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making in the last couple of weeks. So today I have some knitting, some sewing, a question for the Ask Me Anything section, a gadget that I'm really into at the moment, and some information on what's occurring, including some information on my shop update and including some information on the sale that I'm going to have. And you'll only be able to get the codes for the sale if you're subscribed to my newsletter, so I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the podcast. And last of all, we have a little appearance from Jensen at the end of the podcast wearing something knitted. So before I start, I just wanted to say that I am going to be doing Vlogmas this year starting on the 1st of December, so I'm really excited about that and I hope you can join me. If you have purchased one of my advent calendars, I have got a couple of things that are related to that going to be showing on the Vlogmas videos, so do tune in if you have got one of my advent calendars. I'll be sending emails out with the patterns that are with the advents soon, and that'll explain a little bit more about it as well. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? I have a finished object to show you. Now, I haven't put any tassels or anything on this yet, but I think I might, but I'm a little bit unsure exactly what I'm going to do. So this is my Geogradient shawl, patterned by Stephen West, and this was the mystery knit along for October this year, and I've just finished it. It took me a little while longer than the actual length of the knit along to complete it, mainly because these bits were very time consuming at the sides. So we had clue 1 that was in the centre, clue 2 that was either side of the centre, both sides there, clue 3 with these sort of pointy bits here with this sort of pattern. If I come a bit closer you'll be able to see, and then clue 4 was this edge, and I really like this edge. This edge I'm very tempted to make the hat pattern that I've seen Stephen's brought out with this same texture on it, and it's called the Treasure Trove hat, and I'm tempted to see if I can use yarns held double because it's a DK weight and this is fingering, but the same yarns to make the hat, to see if I can make it so it matches the edge of this shawl. But I have got quite a bit of yarn left. I think I've got about 30 grams of 2 of the colours, these 2 colours, and I think I have 45 grams left of these 2. So I think I might have enough to hold them double, as long as I use another colour for the brim, but I'm not sure yet. We shall see. But another thing I could do is sort of transfer the numbers, increase the actual number of repeats to make it so that it's a fingering weight, but I shall see if I end up doing it or not. But I think I fancy doing some tassels on this, but I haven't quite decided on what I'm going to do, so I have left it for now. It has sort of freshly blocked. Perhaps I'll wear it a couple of times and then decide what tassels I want. I did like the ones that were all the way along the edge, small ones, but instead of doing the tassels in all the colours, all of the tassels in all the colours, I might do like alternating tassels to match the stripes. But there we go. This is mine. Now Liz has finished hers as well. She's not here today because she's not feeling very well, so send in well wishes to Liz. She's got a chest infection, but I think she's well on the road to recovery. I just didn't want to drag her out to be on the podcast when she's not feeling very well. And this is Liz's in the pinks. So I did the It's Only Natural colourway, and she did the Barbie Girl colour set that I dyed up specially for these Makalongs. Now you can see that Liz is quite a bit bigger than mine. I'll put it up against each other because her tension's a bit looser. I am really quite a tight knitter. I think Liz is probably average really. She's not exceptionally loose, I don't think, but you can see that that is quite a little bit bigger at the bottom, and I think it comes out a little bit wider as well on the edges. Yeah, only just a few inches just on the edge there, but tension can make quite a bit of a difference. I think mainly in the centre section really, to make that a little bit longer at the bottom. But I'll show you Liz's again because I haven't shown you much, but I think the actual centre just appears a little bit bigger with the tension being looser. So Liz has got a little bit less left than I have, plus she did the MCN base, so I think there's a few less meters per 100 gram skein, but she had 25 grams of the 2 lighter colours and then about 40 grams of the 2 darker colours of the range. So she has a similar amount of yarn left to me, say 5 grams less than each, but I think they came out really well. I think Liz might want some tassels on hers as well, so I'm going to wait till she sort of sees it now that it's finished and blocked, and she can decide on what tassels she wants, and I'm going to do that bit for her because she doesn't like doing those fiddly type of bits. But there we go, we have 2 finished shawls. So I thought I'd show you how I could wear the new Geogradient pattern. I'll probably wear it like this, to be honest, so that I've got the edge showing around the front like that, and then you can sort of see the stripes in the previous sections, which is really nice, just like that. So I'm not quite sure whether I'll do tasselled all the way around. I think that'd look quite nice, but we shall see. I shall give you an update next time. And this is what it looks like when it's over the shoulder. You could tuck it like this and have a shawl pin over the side, like so. But I think these colours will go really well with jeans and things, different outfits. So I do have a knitting work in progress that's on the needles at the moment. I have one finished slipper and one that's actually sort of half done. I'll show you the one that's sort of half done. There we go. And this is the Rauna slipper. Unfortunately, because it's in like a dark grey, it'll be a little bit more difficult. It'll be a little bit more difficult to see the pattern, but there are some bobbles on there and some lace on the top of the foot. What I will do is when I finish these, I'll model them and you can see them on my foot properly. But they're a nice simple slipper pattern with a nice addition of some detail at the top of the foot. I've used some Lettlopi yarn to do these. So the pattern itself is written for a worsted weight yarn, but this is an Aran weight yarn, the Lettlopi, but it's worked nicely. I've followed the instructions. I think it's for the 38 and 39 size of slipper, and that's what I normally am when I wear a shoe, and this fits really nicely. It's quite a rustic sort of yarn, but I thought it'd be brilliant for on my feet because it's not going to be touching my skin anywhere, and I really like the texture of this yarn. It's like black but with some greys in there as well, which is lovely. I don't think you can really see the full pattern until you actually got them on the feet. It's knitted as a strip backwards and forwards, garter stitch here, and then you stitch across the back and then continue working in the round down to the foot. Do some decreases when you've done the pattern, and then there you go. So they're relatively quick to knit actually. I think I managed to knit the foot in a couple of evenings, but I'm only getting about an hour and a half to knit in the evenings these days. So probably if you knitted probably 3 or 4 hours in an evening, you could get them this sort of knitted in a couple of nights, but it takes me much longer having Jensen. So I have started the second one. You can see that I've done the bobbles there. I might do this pattern actually in a lighter colour as well, but I thought having a dark yarn won't show the dirt. So I have done quite a bit of that. I've joined the back on there, and I've got a little progress keeper to show which was the front and the back, so I knew which one to join together. And then I've just got my little needle stoppers on there. These are my macaroon ones, I love these. And I had to have sort of stitch markers and macarons to match, because that's lovely, isn't it? So you can see that the bobbles are there, and I'm not far off finishing the first repeat of the pattern, which is good. And then I'll be able to show you some finished slippers, but I definitely recommend these. So I think the original pattern may have been in Norwegian, but don't test me on that. But there is an English version as well. I've obviously used the English version because I'm rubbish and I only know English. But the instructions were brilliant and easy to follow. and they're a nice gift to actually knit up for Christmas, so I definitely recommend those. And I want to knit up some other slippers in time for Christmas as well. I'm leaving it a little bit late, but you know. So that is what I've been knitting on. Liz has been knitting on something else, and I thought I'd show you this because she's given me back to sort it out. So I've asked her to knit some yarn up that was the September and October yarn clubs for earlier this year, and I picked this pattern. So this pattern I think is pronounced the Ishneich or Ishneich, I'm not quite sure. I can't pronounce it very well, so do forgive me, but this is the pattern that I'm getting her to knit. It is a gorgeous cabled pattern which got this beautiful Celtic pattern around the edge, and this is by Lucy Hague. But isn't that gorgeous? So this is from a book that I've had, I think I've had it a couple of years now, so there's some lovely beautiful designs in there, but this was one of my favourites, I think. And this one I thought would be brilliant for one skein each of 2 different colours from the Music from the Movies yarn clubs for this year. So these are the colours that were the September and October colours. I'll show you them in the cake. So there we go, we have these 2 colours together. This is Guns N' Roses You Could Be Mine from Terminator 2, and this one is Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk. I'll show you that a little bit closer. There we go. So those are designed to go together, and this is what it looks like in the shawl. So the first bit is sort of striping them, and then the next bit will just be in the sort of pinky purpley colour. There'll be all the cables across it. Liz is knitting the slightly larger version, and she's just got to the point where we've started doing the sort of cables, and it got a little bit confusing, so I'm just sorting out this next row, but I think part of the issue might be because on the first few rows, if you've got stitch markers there, it can be a bit confusing when we've got this a 1 to 5 stitch. So once you've got past row 3, apparently I've seen in the notes, I think that it makes more sense. But I'm going to knit up to row 3, and Liz is going to have it back to work on it. So that's what it's looking like so far. But I love these 2 colours together, and I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I'm hoping that on next week's podcast Liz will come on and show us what she's knitted. I say next week, but it'll probably be in 2 weeks, because next week I want to do Crafty Day that you can follow along with me. So last week I did a video where I made some jogging bottoms for Adam, which I shall show you in a minute. And now for the sewing section. Now I'm not going to talk too much about these because I did do a whole video of me sewing them last week. So these are a present for Adam for his birthday, and I did actually buy the fabric last year. Oh dear. These are the Hudson pants by True Bias, and they're basically a jogging bottom pattern which have got a nice slim leg with a cuff, elastic waist and pockets. They were quite simple to construct. They seem to fit Adam really nicely. The only thing is that the pockets are a little bit, they're not very deep, so I'm going to change that and make the pockets a little bit deeper next time. The fabric I used was some loop back jersey that I purchased from Rainbow Fabrics a little while ago, and I did have a 2 metre piece that was about 160 centimetres wide, and I did manage to get this out of just over 1 metre, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to use the scraps to make another pair, so we shall see. But again, Adam did model them in the video that I did last week, so I shall leave that for you to go back to watch that to get more details. But they were a nice sew, and actually once I got the pattern cut out, they really didn't take long to stitch up, but I'm really pleased with those, and I'm going to be making him some more. Now that I've got the pattern cut out of the paper pattern, that'll be easier to sort of duplicate. I really liked the edge of the pocket. I'm really sorry that I've done them in black because you can't really see it very well, but there is a double edge here, which makes it a really nice finish. So this is a folded over piece of fabric, and the seam is down here, so there's like another little pocket detail. I will do them in a different colour, and you will be able to see a little bit better when I've actually done them in a fabric that is not black. But I thought black would be nice for Adam around the house. I do have some grey fabric as well, so I might see if I can sew those up soon so you can see the detail a little bit better. So there we go, that is my sewing that I've been doing. Like I said, if you want to pop back and watch the vlog that I did last week, I go through all the steps of sort of picking the pattern, picking the size and cutting out the pattern and cutting out the fabric as well. So if you want any tips on sewing jersey, that might help you a little bit. The only thing different from sort of ladies' patterns, I do find that because men's are basically a lot straighter than women's patterns, I find that if I was picking a pattern size for me, it'd be a little bit more complicated. But because it's literally sort of waist size and leg length, that was a lot easier. He seems to be able to wear things from the shop off the shelf really easy, so it wasn't a hard thing to sort of make, and not much to adjust, just to make sure that the pockets are a little bit deeper. He says he actually has the same issue with a lot of off-the-shelf pockets being a little bit short anyway, so maybe me making them and making the pockets a little bit deeper will be beneficial, even though the actual cut of the trousers isn't much different from the shop bought ones. So next I have the Ask Me Anything section. So somebody sent me an email and I forgot to note it down, I'm afraid, who it was, but they asked me, can you say on the podcast what is the difference between the cover stitch and the overlocker when I speak about those in terms of sewing? Now, the cover stitch basically stitches onto a material which isn't the edge of a fabric. If I show you on this cardigan, actually, so I've got a hem on the bottom of this cardigan, and that is stitched on the cover stitch. 1, 2 or 3 lines of stitching, and then on the back there's the loops that join them, so it sort of holds the fabric, the edge of the fabric down really nice and neatly, like so. But when you have an overlocker, it literally stitches over the very edge of a fabric. Now I do have some overlocked, the side seam is a good example. So I've overlocked the side seam together there, so they're stitched together, so there's several lines of stitching, and then that finishes off the inside of the material so that you don't have any frayed edges or anything. So that is the difference. Literally, the overlocker cuts the edge off of the fabric, or you can deactivate that cutting mechanism, but essentially it's to stitch on the edge of the material, whereas the cover stitch is actually doing like a hem or something in the middle of the material rather than the edge. I have a separate machine for a cover stitch and an overlocker, but you can get ones that go between the two. I just found that I thought I don't want to be changing the settings on it too much, so I've got a separate machine for both. You absolutely don't need a cover stitch or an overlocker to stitch jersey projects, dressmaking wise. You can do it on a standard sewing machine. It's just that I've accumulated these things over the years, saved me money. It does make a really nice neat finish, but with a cover stitch you can get the same effect with a twin needle on a standard machine, and then it does like the zigzag over the back with a bobbin, and the two needles, you thread them with 2 different threads, and then, well, can be the same colour, and then you can have the same sort of effect. Although it won't quite be as nice, it's a sort of alternative, and you can always just use a zigzag as well. The overlocker obviously cuts the fabric, but you can stitch over the edge of the fabric on a standard sewing machine. You can sometimes get a special foot to do that, but they're obviously specialised machines. They work a little bit better than using a standard machine, but you can do this on a standard sewing machine if you haven't got the specialised equipment. So the next section is Gadget, and I wanted to share this with you again because I've been using this a lot. So this is a thing that you put around your neck, and you can angle the lights to shine at whatever you're doing, may it be knitting or sewing or whatever. There's some buttons there to regulate the different lights, and on and off as well, but I've used this no end. Really useful. You can direct it exactly what you're doing, and instead of having the light attached to sort of magnification glasses or like a head torch, this is sort of separate from your face so that you can look up at other things while you've got the light directed on what you're doing. So you can use it for sort of car knitting, and Adam actually used it for a bit of DIY where he needed some really good light, and the light on this is really bright, so I definitely recommend it. I got mine from Amazon, and I obviously wanted the turquoise one, so I picked one that was turquoise, and I think it came up as £11 or £12. I will leave a link to exactly where I got it from in the description bar down below. It's not affiliate link, it's just exactly what I've bought, but it seems like a really good quality one, and I've been using it for a couple of months now, so I definitely recommend this one. It's got a little battery pack in the back which you can plug in using a cable. To be honest, I've not charged it up yet, so the battery seems to last quite a long time. I only tend to use the actual light on it for a sort of half an hour at a time, but so far it's been really good. So the next section is what's occurring. So I wanted to reiterate that we've got Barbara's Day out on the 3rd of December. That is at 2 PM, and that'll be in the Terrace bar at Dunston Hall, the same place as we normally go. Basically you go into the bar, go through down the stairs into the sort of conservatory area, and we're normally on the right hand side if we can get that seat. So hopefully see you there. We are doing a yarn swap for sort of the Christmas one. And I'm basically saying if you bring 100 grams of hand-dyed yarn wrapped up in Christmas paper, we can pop those in a basket, and then people can pick out one and then go home with a new yarn. So you can either bring something out of your stash or buy something new if you want to. So we have the November subscriber giveaway coming up this week, so I was just going to reiterate, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter. If you pop over to my website, it actually should come up automatically after about 5 seconds, a little box for you to put your details in to subscribe to the newsletter. If not, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's a little box there. If you put your email in, it'll subscribe you to the newsletter. So on to my sort of shop update section of the what's occurring bit. There are literally a couple of yarn advents on the shop at the moment. So they're only in a couple of bases, but they're all 20 gram 24-day ones, ready to ship. So if you are international, I can't guarantee that it will get to you in time, but if you are in the UK, that should have plenty of time to get to you. I'll ship them as soon as possible. This year I'm doing a tutorial which goes along with something that's in one of the days for the Advent. So one of the days will have something exciting to do with a little tutorial that I'm going to do, and every day during Vlogmas I'm going to be saying what the actual yarn's called in the Advent calendar, so it's sort of integrated into your Advent this year. Also, December yarn clubs are now on the website. They will be available until the 3rd of December, and they will be shipped on the 15th of December. So if you have purchased November and December yarn clubs, they will all be shipped on the 15th of December as well. I may try and get those shipped a little bit early so it avoids some of that Christmas postage, but I'll do that as quickly as I can. I also decided to do a little Black Friday sale starting this Friday, and you will only get the codes for these discounts if you are subscribed to my newsletter. There will be 10% off opal yarns, 30% off selected fabrics, and 10% off bag making kits. So I will email out the codes for those in the email on Friday. I'm not quite sure what time it will go out, but if you are subscribed to the email list, you will have those codes emailed to you. And those codes will be valid until Sunday, so make sure that you get your order in over the weekend if you want to take advantage of that discount. I don't do discounts on my handmade products because they take an awful lot of work, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a treat with some sort of discount, with it being sort of Black Friday sales. I very rarely do sales, to be honest, so this is just this weekend only. I will not do sales for the rest of the year, and I may consider doing them next year, but we shall see. I am also on the 1st of December, my sock pattern for the Rockin' Robin sock pattern, and also the nest box shawl. Those will be coming out, so there will be a discount on those for those of you who purchase those patterns in the first couple of days. Watch out for when those are released on the 1st of December. But of course I'll mention that on Vlogmas videos as well. So I shall see you next week for a crafty day, and I will be popping up videos to do with the new patterns as well next week, and then I will see you on Vlogmas as well. So lots to come. So now it's over to you, Jensen, with a little appearance with something that's knitted. Jensen, show me your hat.
Look at mummy.
Jensen.
Jensen, look at mummy.
Jensen. Jensen. Oh, what's over there?
They're poppies.
This is a hat from Tin Can Knits that my lovely friend Claire made for Jensen. Yeah. Isn't it gorgeous? Yeah. Love it. And beautiful pom-pom as well. Yeah, what can you see? Flowers. Are you all nice and cosy, Jensen? Yeah. Yeah. Can you say bye-bye to everybody on the camera, please? Bye-bye. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye!